The Braves have become known for their bright young stars in the game. It seems like every year there's a Michael Harris, there's a Spencer Strider. Last year we saw Bryce Elder break out in the first half of the year. Every single year they come up and have a guy that comes out of nowhere. And even sometimes, and Brian Snitker mentioned it in his interview with 680 The Fan, sometimes it's not even a guy that's necessarily rookie. Sometimes it's a guy like Tyler Matzek, who you pick up an independent ball that nobody even knows who he is. He shows up in spring training and everyone's like, ooh, that boy can throw the ball. And then obviously you know what Tyler Matzek ended up doing in the 2021 World Series and everything in between. He was one of the best relievers in all of baseball, especially from the left side. So Brian Snitker was posed a question, who is the next young star? And of course, Brian Snitker is not going to go out there and give you like his, oh, it's this guy. It's definitely this guy. It's definitely this guy. He named a bunch of names, but we are allowed to sit up here and predict the next star of the Atlanta Braves. And there's a lot of candidates to choose from. But Alex, I'll let you start off. Who to you do you think in 2024? And there's three guys in my head, and I think there could be a few more, but who do you think is going to be the next big impact to the Braves coming through the minor league ranks?
Yeah, I think it's three obvious guys. I think most Braves fans' minds immediately go to these three guys. I'm going to pick the one where I think is the most probable. Now, his impact won't be as high as maybe the other two if they realize their full potential. But I'm talking about the most probable has got to be Vaughn Grissom. His bat is already major league ready. There's an opening in left field. If he can just do just enough with the glove, he's going to have a tremendous impact. And the impact goes further than just the field, which is a near 300 batting average, 800 plus OPS. It's going to allow the Braves to spend that money elsewhere, say the rotation, say the bullpen, wherever it is. That impact goes further than just the field. It will go on the field. It'll just go hit, those funds will be allocated elsewhere. So I think in terms of the biggest impact, it's got to be Vaughn Grissom, because the probability that he impacts in 2024 is much higher than the other two. And those funds can be allocated to the rotation or the bullpen.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that the left field thing with Vaughn Grissom is interesting. In Snitker's interview, he actually talked about how he's currently playing in Puerto Rico and playing in the outfield. So that's something to keep an eye on throughout this entire offseason. I'm sure that we'll hear reports from him. Now, what those reports mean, last year, Ron Washington was saying Vaughn Grissom could sure play shortstop. Yeah, we learned pretty quickly that was not the case. But I agree with you, especially on the funds part, because if you can save money in left field by putting him there, which I think is a real possibility, you can go after that frontline guy and not spend a ridiculous amount of money this offseason and still stay within budget. I'm going to go with kind of my darling. This is kind of how I felt about Spencer Strider when he was coming up. Some guys just have this thing where you're just like, that guy. And listen, a lot of people will sit here and tell you, hey, AJ Smith-Shawver could be a frontline starter. I don't know if I'm there yet. To me, he's still more like a number three. And I think there's still some things he needs to work out for him. But from a pure pitching perspective, I could not be more excited about Hurston Waldrep. And now he only has half a year in the minor leagues. That half a year was brilliant. I don't know where he'll start, if he'll start in AA or AAA next year. I'm leaning towards AAA, just judging by how quickly the Braves usually bring up these prospects. And he's a college arm, so he's already older than AJ Smith-Shawver. From a pure pitching perspective, I just think Hurston Waldrep has it. And it's just because I think his secondary stuff is far, far, far and away better than what you'll see out of Hurston Waldrep. And then they both throw in the mid to high 90s consistently. Obviously, I think AJ Smith-Shawver can sometimes run it up to the higher 90s, while Hurston Waldrep's probably 95, 97. There's something about Waldrep to me. When I watched him play in college, I was like, ooh, that guy's a stud. He's going to be really good. And when I thought he'd be like borderline top 10 pick area. When I saw him available for the Braves, I'm like, it has to be Waldrep. Like, this is a Braves pick. And it's one of the few times. The MLB draft is so ridiculous to predict because you have all these overslot and underslot values, and you only have a certain amount of money at each pick. So sometimes you reach for a guy here and you don't reach for a guy there. So it's hard to predict. But this one was like, wow, this was just the guy that you should get. He was brilliant. I know Snitker mentioned him in this interview with 680 Fan. I think Waldrep next year is going to be in the major league rotation, and I think he could be an impact starter relatively quickly. I really think this guy has it. And we talk about all these trades and stuff. Like, if I'm trading someone, and this is why when I've done these trade packages, I put AJ Smith-Shawver in there. It's because I'm so high on Waldrep. I am so high on Waldrep. I think this guy could be a stud, a real frontline starter, and I wouldn't be shocked if he started to make a huge impact sometime next year.
Yeah, and then we'll go with the last one. You did a couple different times. You kept saying Hurston Waldrep. I got a bit confused there, but I understand that you're talking about Hurston Waldrep being the big impact player and not AJ Smith-Shawver. So I'll go with AJ Smith-Shawver. And I could say very similar things, that he's kind of got that potential. He's only been pitching for, a short time. So there's no telling what his actual ceiling could be. He can run it up near triple digits. And he's, like I said, he's only been pitching for a few years, if that. I mean, the kid's is oozing with potential. At this point, all he is potential. He's completely physical talent. And once he kind of puts it together up here, who knows how high that ceiling is. And if you want to talk about immediate impact 2024, like you said, we don't really know if Hurston Waldrep's going to start in AA, AAA, but I promise if he shows what you expect, what we expect, it won't be long before he's in the major league rotation. But we expect AJ Smith-Shawver to be in that major league rotation from opening day. That at least I do. And I think that, he might be taking his lumps, but when you're in a rotation with Max Fried, Charlie Morton, Spencer Strider, and whoever knows else who's Alex Anthopoulos is going to go out to get, he's got to be a sponge. I mean, in terms of like what he knows versus what is available to him knowledge-wise, it's unbelievable. He's going to be throwing up knowledge from those guys. He's got to soak it all in, and he obviously is going to soak it all in. So if we want to talk about immediate impact, I think AJ Smith-Shawver's immediate impact in 2024 is something to be excited about. Listen, all three of these guys could have immense impacts in 2024. In fact, I think we expect them to have some inkling of impact in 2024. How high that goes, that's up for debate.
Yeah, I mean, but that's kind of what I was saying. That's why I was going back and forth between Smith-Shawver and Waldrep. I just think right now, like right now, and I know Smith-Shawver's had that taste of the big leagues already because he's been in the organization for longer. I think right now, the more developed pitcher of the two is Waldrep. And I think fans are going to figure that out in 2024. Now, if AJ Smith-Shawver goes out there and shoves it an absolute stud, it wouldn't shock me one bit. And I hope that is what happened. I hope both of these guys have impacts because like we said, man, you could never have too many arms. I don't care if you sign Aaron Nola. You can find these two guys. So you're going to have opportunities for these two guys to start if they're ready because injuries are inevitable and they're just an unfortunate part of the game, but especially to pitchers as we saw this past year. Coming up after the break, we're bringing back one of our old segments, and this is going to be daily, our Just Stop Tweeting moment of the day.